For this video, I am in Frankfort, Kentucky, one of the smallest state capitals in the United States. Frankfort is halfway between Kentucky's two largest cities in Louisville and Lexington. However, it's a little bit closer to Lexington than it is to Louisville. When it comes to state capitals, Frankfort comes in as the fourth smallest city, with Augusta, Maine, Pierre, South Dakota, and Montpelier, Vermont being the only smaller state capitals. Despite being full of Walmart shopping Kentucky basketball fans, it's a decent town, I guess, and in this video we're going to see all of what there is to see within the city of Frankfort, Kentucky. Alright, well I begin the video on the southwestern part of town, and if you enjoy this video make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, as doing all of those things helps these videos destroy the evil monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Also make sure to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. If you're new to this channel, I'm on a journey to see everywhere in the United States, and down below is a link for an interactive map that shows you all of the places that I've made videos on so far. Last but not least, if you can't get enough of me on here, you can always go follow me on my other social media accounts, and those links are below. To the left is one of three area high schools. This one is Western Hills High School. Niche.com rates the school as a B. The school opened in 1981 and the athletic teams go by the Wolverines. Go Blue! Anyway, among the most notable alumni of Western Hills includes MLB shortstop J.T. Riddle and Broadway actor Will Chase. Well, let's talk about the place. Kentucky was established in 1792, and Frankfort has been the state capital ever since. A lot of states have had more than just one city serve as a state capital, but not here. Frankfort was founded all the way back in 1786 by General James Wilkinson, even though the area was settled well before that. The name comes from a crossing over the Kentucky River, which was called Frank's Ford. That was named after Stephen Frank, who was a frontiersman that was killed during an Indian skirmish along the river. These days, most of the skirmishes that you'll see in Frankfort occur here, whether it's fighting over a parking spot, the last case of Mountain Dew, or whatever the case may be. Anyway, the first state house was built in 1794, but it burned to the ground in 1813. Another state house was completed in 1816, only for that one to burn to the ground 8 years later in 1824. Both times that Frankfort saw its state house burn early on, the larger cities of Louisville and Lexington tried their best to take the reign of being the state capital, but they were never able to do so, obviously. Frankfort was seen as a better spot due to its central location. Here, Frankfort looks like just about any other city or town of this size in the United States, with all of the chain restaurants and businesses located on the outskirts of town near the interstate exit. Well, given the city's geographic location, it was conflicted between both sides during the Civil War. In 1862, Confederate troops took over several cities in Kentucky, including Frankfort. The Confederates only held Frankfort for a month, but the city built two forts on top of Fort Hill, which sits just north of downtown Frankfort. And I didn't visit it while I was in town, even though I could have, but today, the hill serves as a park and it's open to the public. After the Civil War, Frankfort had its dark moments in history like most other southern places have had. There were several racially led lynchings that took place in town, and the KKK had a strong presence here. In the year 1900, there was an assassination of William Goebel, who was a Democratic candidate for governor. That came after a slimy election when the state legislature decided in Goebel's favor. See people, we've always had slimy politicians in this country, and we've always had people get super angry over political power, not just today. Despite all the violence that Frankfort saw during the Civil War era, the city continued to grow. In 1905, construction started on a newer and larger state capitol building. It was finished in 1909, and it has served as the state capital ever since. We'll be seeing the Capitol building here pretty shortly. Early on, Frankfort's economy revolved around agriculture and distilling. From 1920 to 1933, when the U.S. banned alcohol consumption as a part of the national prohibition, it hit the local economy pretty hard. Several distilleries were forced to close pretty quickly, but as you can imagine, those distilleries came back to life after the prohibition ended. And later in the video, we'll drive by a few of the distilleries that are active in Frankfort today. Speaking of the distillery business, this is the Berry Hill Mansion, which overlooks the state capitol and downtown Frankfort. Like most historic mansions, it was named after the original owner of it, who was George Franklin Berry. Berry was an executive of W.A. Gaines & Company, which was among the largest whiskey distilleries in the country in the late 1800s. The mansion was built in the year 1900, and it has 22 different rooms, while it's highlighted by its own music room. The house is open to the public from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays, and you can reserve the mansion on weekends. And now we're going to head down the hill into downtown Frankfort, and you'll soon be able to soak in all of the fame and glory that comes with being a state capital. Well, one of my first observations when driving through was that this was a really pretty area, with the Kentucky River carving out a nice little valley and a landscape that's full of rolling hills. Up until the mid-20th century, development of the city didn't occur outside of the areas within the valley that we're about to see, as for a long time, Frankfort was mostly just located along the Kentucky River. Now that we're down the hill, this first area that we go through used to be its own community called South Frankfort, as it was south of the Kentucky River across from the original Frankfort. It was annexed by Frankfort all the way back in 1850, right around the time that Frankfort was able to hit official city status. To the left is the F.D. Wilkinson Gymnasium, which is a historic basketball gym in which Frankfort High School plays their home basketball games at. I see that they took a page out of Indiana's book with this one. Frankfort High School is home to the Panthers, and it's only one of two schools that are a part of the Frankfort Independent School District, the other one being the 2nd Street School. Frankfort is located in Franklin County, and the much larger Franklin County Public School District serves the majority of the area's population. Anyway, Niche.com gives Frankfort High School a B+, and it's rated as the best high school in the area. Not that Western Hills or Franklin County High School are bad schools, it's just that this one is rated better and gets to brag about it. They also have the nicer and more historic basketball gym. Frankfort has never been a big city. Most people consider Frankfort to be a boring small town. It's about a 45-minute drive to either Lexington or Louisville if you're wanting a taste of a bigger city. You can see here the population history of Frankfort, as it hasn't grown much at all over the last 4 decades or so. And Franklin County has seen slight population gains between the census counts over the last century. Frankfort today is home to 28,000 people, and the median household income is $50,000 per year. 30% of adults 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree or higher, and the median value of owner-occupied housing units is $132,000. The poverty rate is higher than average, as it's at 18%. Niche.com ranks the area schools overall as a B-, so that's not bad. However, I was surprised to see the property crime rates come in so high, as they're nearly twice the national average rate. Better get yourself a security camera for your home if you decide to settle down here. Don't want to take any chances of your garden gnome getting stolen? No, sir. Straight up ahead is the State Capitol building, which again was constructed in 1905 and was completed in 1909 to replace the older and smaller State Capitol building. The older one still stands today on the north side of the river, and we'll see it later in the video. The older sections of Frankfort have a lot of nice older homes, and off of this street, you can see some of them here. And now we head over the bridge to see all of the excitement and glory that comes with the north side of downtown Frankfort. Unlike some other areas of Kentucky, the economy of Franklin County is doing all right. The top private sector employers in the county include Monoplast of North America, which manufactures car parts, the Buffalo Trace Distillery, which we'll see later on, the Topi Corporation, I believe I said that right, Beam Incorporated, and Nashville Wire Products. 28% of the city's workforce works for the state of Kentucky, which should come at no surprise. 15% work in education, health, and social services, and 12.4% work in manufacturing. As you can see, downtown Frankfort looks pretty nice. It also looks like it shuts down at 5 p.m. daily, maybe 6 p.m. on Friday and Saturday nights. I mean, there might be a few places open at night during the warmer months, but probably not too many. This block of West Main Street showcases some older, yet really nice looking buildings and homes. To the left, the church-looking building that you see is called the Elizabeth, and on the right, it's a building that's owned by Kentucky State University, another place that we'll get to later on in the video. Straight ahead, you can see the old state capitol building and all of its glory. This building served as the state capitol from 1830 to 1910. Today, you can buy tickets to see what it's like inside. The building provides for a nice backdrop for this block, which appears to be where most of the excitement is in downtown Frankfort. Up until the 1970s, downtown Frankfort had as many as 5 theaters. To the left is the Grand Theater, which is the only one that's left. Today it's still used as a theater, which is nice. For those who have watched my videos, you know that I always like the looks of old theaters in small city downtown areas. The Grand was saved by a nonprofit in 2005 called Save the Grand Theater. 17 years later, it looks like the mission was a success. And the rest of this street is full of shops and restaurants. On this particular fall day, there were many people out enjoying the nice weather while it lasted, as it was one of the last warm weather weekends of the season. The reason for the railroad line in the middle of the street is because back in the day, Frankfort was only located down in the river valley, which isn't very big. There wasn't much room to spread things out in the river valley as it was a growing city, so things were pretty compact and tight from a city development standpoint. There was only so much room to grow a city, so that meant that everything had to be crammed into this small area down by the river. And of course, as time went on, more development was able to occur on higher ground. But when the city was getting built, the railroad era was huge, so that's why you have this railroad down in the center part of the city. And I'm not sure what this guy is doing here, but to the left is the Capitol Museum, which seems like another nice place to visit if you ever find yourself coming to Frankfort and if you like museums. On the left here is the Kentucky Historical Society, and the big government-looking building on the right is just that, a big government building. So yes, that was downtown Frankfort, and now we're going to see some of the distilleries in the area, the third high school, and Kentucky State University. With the way that the geography is around Frankfort, it makes it a pretty spread out city for a town of only 28,000 people, and the county only has 51,000, so it's not like it's a highly populated area, it's just really spread out due to the nature of the region's rolling hills, and that might make the area seem bigger than it actually is. This is the Buffalo Trace Distillery. It's one of the oldest distilleries in the United States. It's had other names in the past. The first name was the Old Fire Copper Distillery, and it's also been named the George T. Stagg Company. But since 1999, it's been named Buffalo Trace. The name honors the old roadways that went through the area that were known as Buffalo Traces. In 2001, this distillery was added to the National Register of Historic Places. Today, visitors are welcome to come tour the facility and visit the gift shop. Buffalo Trace offers complimentary tours and tastings, so that's nice. Registration is recommended according to the company's website in order to guarantee yourself a spot for whenever it is that you plan on coming through. And of course, this is a part of Kentucky's Bourbon Trail. Not too far north of here is a nice little waterfall to go see if you're ever in the area, something that I didn't do. And here we're just kind of venturing out into the far northeastern part of the city, which is just kind of a residential sprawl area. Over here you have the Jim Beam Old Grandad plant. The Old Grandad whiskey is distilled in Clermont, Kentucky, which is south of Louisville. But here is where they store some of the barrels. Jim Beam is one of the more commonly known brands of bourbon that's distilled in Kentucky. To the right, you have the Franklin County Fairgrounds, where all of the good old local boys and gals gather once a year to show off their flannel shirts, among other hijinks and hilarity. Just past that is Franklin County High School, home of the Flyers. It's the largest of the 3 area high schools, and among the most notable alumni includes backup NFL quarterback Logan Woodside. And this is the campus of Kentucky State University, a historically black college. The school has been around since 1886, with the first buildings being completed around 1887. In 1957, Dr. MLK Jr. delivered the commencement speech for the graduation ceremonies. The campus stretches out for 882 acres, and the school's website claims that it enrolls around 2,300 students. The athletic teams go by the Thoroughbreds. And here you can see some of the athletic facilities. There was a football game going on when I visited here, and even though Google Maps told me to head on through, it was turned into a parking lot for the game, so I had to find a different route. Well, there you have it, guys. The city of Frankfort, Kentucky, and all of its fame and glory that goes along with being the state capital of Kentucky, one of the smallest state capitals at that in the entire United States. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, as doing all of those things helps these videos destroy the evil monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell and select yes, so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. If you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy checking out some of the featured playlists on this channel. Videos on other places with amazing insights, like Frankfort, Kentucky, can be found in my USA Small Cities playlist, my USA State Capitals playlist, or in my Kentucky playlist. Last but not least, if you can't get enough of me on here, you can always go follow me on my other social media accounts, and those links are below. We'll see you next time. Peace!